Hermann Maier officially won 54 World Cup races, but the Austrian has his own statistics and in them he won 55 races, because he claims that he fairly won the Giant Slalom of 𝗀𝗲𝗍𝗂 in 1997, since he was the fastest down the hill. But the records name the Swiss skier Mike van Groeningen as the winner of 𝗀𝗲𝗍𝗂, and Maier shows up as disqualified. The reason for this? A tiny detail in the rulebook. And of course, the detail-oriented Swiss know every rule and saw an infraction with Maier's run. The infraction? Hermann Maier crossed a red line in the finish area with only one ski still on his feet. If you're thinking we're talking about the finish line, you're wrong. There is a second line in the finish area, and according to the later removed rule 630.1.11, this line has to be crossed with both skis still on the feet. The rule was added in the early 80s after pressure from the European Broadcasting Union, because they wanted to avoid something that nowadays is an everyday occurrence in ski racing. The broadcasting company wanted to avoid product placement. Before the rule was implemented, athletes would jump out of the skis right after the finish line and present their skis to the camera. According to the Swiss newspaper Blick, the first person to realize that Maier broke the rule 630.1.11 was 𝗀𝗆𝗆𝗆, who was in the middle of an interview after his run. The Swiss skier said, "Now it's getting interesting. I wonder what's going to happen next," after seeing Maier taking off his right ski and kissing the finish line. Because the finish referee, yes, that's actually a thing in skiing, didn't pay attention and didn't call out the infraction, the Swiss registered a protest. Hermann Maier claimed that he thought the rule only applied to downhill races, but knew that ignorance doesn't prevent the punishment. Maier wouldn't be wrong. The jury decided that Maier would be disqualified, just like the rules dictate. The race director at the time, 𝗀𝗲𝗿𝗺, who was also a member of the jury, said, "I'm not happy that we had to disqualify the best athlete of the race, but the rules are clear and unambiguous. The jury didn't have a choice." Mike van Groeningen, who had inherited the win from Maier, wasn't in a celebrating mood either after his 13th World Cup win. There are nicer victories than the ones that basically fall into your lap after the disqualification of the fastest athlete. And when asked about the disqualification of Maier, van Groeningen said that he was sorry for his Austrian rival, but that there are rules in place for a reason. The rule was applied once before. In 1982, the Swiss skier Toni Bürgler was disqualified in Val Gardena. But while Bürgler only lost the 12th position, Maier lost 100 World Cup points and the 45,000 Swiss francs, that's about $49,500 in prize money. But Maier didn't seem to be too bothered about the money. "I'm only angry about the lost points. I don't ski for the money." The Austrian added that he is aware of his current physical form and that he probably had to become sick for someone else to win. What followed the incident is symbolic for the long-standing rivalry between the two nations when it comes to ski racing. National newspapers started slandering the opposing ski team and accused the others of using unfair tactics to come out on top. The Austrian paper Die Presse published an article titled "Swiss Prank with a Red Line," in which they supposed that the Swiss were jealous and Maier couldn't be beat on the slopes, so they have to resort to tricks to beat him. Because Hermann Maier took off one winning ski before crossing the red line, that marks the advertising zone, the jealous Swiss played a prank on him with the famous red line that no one noticed in the last decade. And the Austrian Neue Kronenzeitung talked about a huge scandal. The win got robbed of the outstanding victor Hermann Maier. The Swiss newspaper Blick, on the other hand, wrote, "Austrians expect sportsmanship and fairness only from the others. They have no problem using any tool to force a victory. The newspaper then continues listing unfair acts committed by the Austrians. In the end, Maier's disqualification was held up despite a protest from the Austrian skiing team. But this didn't stop Maier from becoming one of the greatest skiers of all time, with his biggest moment just 2 months after this incident. At the 1998 Olympics in Nagano, Japan, Maier wins gold in the Super-G and Giant Slalom just days after a spectacular crash in the downhill race. If you want to find out more about Maier's crash and where his nickname the Herminator comes from, you can read our article about the historic moment on our website. Thank you for watching this video, and remember to subscribe and leave a like if you want to see more videos like this in the future.